It was a bright Saturday morning in the city, and the streets near the palace were full of people. Families with small children walked slowly, tourists took photographs, and street performers tried to grab the attention of anyone passing by. The palace gates stood tall and proud with bright red guards standing perfectly still facing the crowds. Their black hats shone in the sunlight, and their polished boots reflected the pavement. No one dared get too close, except for 3 curious teens who had been planning a little adventure for weeks. Mia, Sam, and Leo were best friends. They always looked for small adventures that were exciting but harmless. Mia had short brown hair and sparkling green eyes. She was always full of ideas and loved trying new things. Sam was a little more cautious. He had dark hair and often worried about consequences, but he was loyal and liked joining his friends in every plan. Leo was the tallest of the 3. His golden hair shone in the sun, and he had a mischievous smile that made it clear he loved challenges. Together, they made a perfect team for any small adventure. For weeks, Mia had been talking about the royal guards. She had watched videos online, read stories, and asked tourists about them. Everyone said the same thing. The guards never moved, never smiled, and never reacted to anything. They were like statues, standing perfectly still no matter what happened around them. Mia leaned closer to Sam and Leo as they walked near the palace gates. "Do you know what I just thought of?" she whispered. "I bet we can make a royal guard react." Leo's eyes lit up. "React? What do you mean?" Mia grinned. "I mean, they are always serious. People say they never move. What if we try something funny? Something small, but that will surprise them." Sam frowned slightly. "Funny? Like what? We are not supposed to touch them." Mia nodded. "I know, but I promise it will be harmless, just a little poke, just to see if they can react." Leo laughed. "You mean tickle one?" Mia's grin grew wider. "Exactly. Just a tiny tickle on the shoulder. I want to see if the stories are true. If they really never react, or if maybe they just need a little surprise." Sam shook his head. "I don't know. It sounds risky. Guards are supposed to be very strict. They might get angry." Mia rolled her eyes. "Sam, come on, it will be quick. We just touch the shoulder and step back. No one will get hurt and we will be very polite." Leo jumped forward a little, excited. "I am in. This is going to be fun. Imagine seeing a royal guard actually react. I think it will be the funniest thing ever." Sam looked at them both and sighed. He knew he could not stop them. "Okay, fine, but we have to be careful. I do not want to get into trouble." The 3 friends spent the next few minutes observing the guards. They watched how the guards stood perfectly still, their hands resting against their sides, their eyes looking straight ahead. They did not blink, they did not move, and they did not even look at the people walking past. Mia crouched slightly to get a better view. "They are amazing," she whispered. "I have never seen anyone so still. You could swear they are statues." Leo laughed quietly. "I know. That is why it will be so funny. We are going to surprise them. I can already imagine their faces." Sam's eyes scanned the area. "We have to choose carefully. Not every guard. We need one that is near the edge so we can run if something happens." Mia nodded. "Exactly. There, look at him. The one near the corner. He is far enough from the crowd, and we can move quickly if he reacts." Leo crouched a little and pointed. "Yes, that is perfect. We should go slowly, step by step, like sneaking around. No one will notice us." The friends moved slowly, counting their steps. The crowd around them was busy with cameras and conversations, so no one was paying attention to the 3 teens. They stopped just a few steps away from the guard. Mia held her hand near his shoulder. "Remember, just a little poke, quick and light. No pushing, no pulling. We just want to see if he reacts." Sam gulped. "I still feel nervous. What if he gets angry?" Mia shook her head. "He will not. Just relax and trust me. It is going to be fine." Leo leaned closer, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "I am ready. Let's do this." Mia reached out carefully and poked the guard's shoulder. She expected nothing to happen. After all, the story said the guards never reacted. Sam quickly poked next, a little more lightly, and then Leo moved closer to tickle the guard's side. At first, nothing happened. The guard stayed perfectly still, his face serious and his eyes forward. Mia, Sam, and Leo froze. They could hardly believe it. Was this guard really going to stay still no matter what? Then, something strange happened. The guard's eyes twitched slightly, just a little, like he felt something unexpected. Mia held her breath. She leaned in closer and whispered to Sam and Leo, "Do you see that?" I think he noticed. Sam's eyes widened. He did. Look at his eyes. They moved, Leo whispered excitedly. I told you, he is reacting. The guard did not move his lips and his face stayed serious, but there was something small and unusual. His eyebrows lifted slightly, almost as if he was surprised. The three friends could hardly believe their eyes. They had dared to do something that most people never even imagined, and it was working. Mia quickly stepped back. Okay, step back slowly. Don't scare him. Sam nodded and moved back. I can't believe this is happening. He is real and he is noticing us. Leo laughed quietly. I think we are making history. No one has ever seen a guard react, and we are the first. The guard blinked once, very slightly, but his face remained calm. He took one step forward, and the three teens froze again. They were unsure if they should stay or run. Mia looked at Sam and Leo. We have to be ready. If he moves more, we run fast. The guard's eyes focused on them. For a moment, it felt like he was studying them, trying to understand what had just happened. Mia's heart pounded in her chest. Sam's knees shook slightly. Leo was trying not to laugh too loudly. Then slowly, the guard straightened again. He did not speak. He did not move too quickly, but the three teens realized that their tiny action had actually reached him. They had broken the unbreakable stillness of a royal guard. Mia whispered, We did it. We actually did it. Sam smiled nervously. I still can't believe it. I was so sure he would never notice. Leo chuckled. And now we know. Even the most serious people can have reactions if you surprise them the right way. The three friends stepped back further, careful not to make sudden movements. They watched the guard for a few more moments. He stayed serious, but the small twitch of his eyes made it clear that he had felt something unusual. It was enough to make the teens feel proud and excited. Mia looked at her friends and whispered, I think this is going to be a story we will never forget. Just wait until we tell everyone what happened. They will not believe it. Leo laughed quietly. They will think we made it up. But we know the truth. We actually made a royal guard react. Sam nodded. It feels amazing, but we should be careful. We don't want to get into trouble for poking him. Mia smiled. Of course, that is why we stop here. But just imagine. This is the kind of small adventure that will stay with us forever. The friends stayed a little longer, observing the guard, then slowly walked away from the palace gates. Their hearts were still racing and their minds were full of excitement. They had tried something daring, something no one else had dared to do, and it had worked. They had discovered a small secret. Even the most serious and strict people could react when surprised. As they walked through the busy streets, Mia, Sam, and Leo kept laughing quietly. They knew this morning would be remembered as the day they dared to tickle a royal guard, the day they felt bold, the day they created a story that would make them smile for years. They did not know what would happen next, but they knew their adventure had only just begun. After their daring morning at the palace gates, Mia, Sam, and Leo felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Their small adventure had worked, but they knew it was only the beginning. They wanted to see if they could get even closer to the royal guards without causing any trouble. The city streets were lively, with people walking slowly, taking pictures and chatting happily. Sunlight reflected off the palace walls, making the red coats of the guards shine brilliantly. Mia led the group, her eyes scanning for the perfect guard. We need to choose carefully, she said quietly. The one we tickled this morning was at the corner, so it was easier. We need someone who is near the edge of the crowd so we can move quickly. Sam nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. I still can't believe we actually made a guard react. I thought they were like statues. Leo laughed, brushing a strand of golden hair from his face. I told you. I said it would work. We just need to be brave and careful. We can do it again. Maybe even closer this time. The three friends moved slowly toward the next set of guards. They watched how the guards stood perfectly still, their hands resting on their sides, their eyes forward, and their posture firm. It looked as if nothing in the world could make them move. The crowd of people around them seemed unaware of the challenge the teens were planning. Mia whispered, "Look at that guard over there. He is far enough from the people, and we can approach without anyone noticing us." She crouched slightly to get a better view, her eyes wide with excitement. "This is going to be perfect." Sam swallowed hard. "I hope we do not get into trouble. I don't want a guard to yell at us or chase us away." Mia smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry. We are going to be very polite. Just a little poke, nothing more. Quick and careful." Leo crouched a little too, grinning. "We are going to see the impossible. The stories say the guards never react. We are about to prove them wrong again." They counted to 3 in whispers and stepped slowly toward the guard. Every step was calculated. They kept their movements small, careful not to attract attention. The crowd around them was busy with cameras, conversations, and laughter. No one noticed the 3 teens sneaking toward the guard. When they reached a safe distance, Mia crouched slightly and stretched out her hand. "Remember, just a little poke on the shoulder. Quick and light," she whispered to Sam and Leo. "No pushing, no pulling. We just want to see if he reacts." Sam nodded, his hands slightly trembling. "I am ready. Let's do it carefully." Leo leaned in with a mischievous smile. "I think this will be even better than before. He might actually move this time." Mia reached out and poked the guard's shoulder gently. At first, there was no movement. The guard stayed perfectly still, his face serious and his eyes looking forward. Sam quickly added his poke, careful not to hurt him. Leo leaned closer and lightly tickled the guard's side. Suddenly, the guard's eyes twitched. It was very small, almost unnoticeable, but it was there. Mia, Sam, and Leo froze. They had seen this before, but now it felt different. The guard was closer, and the tension in the air was stronger. Mia whispered, "Do you see that?" "He noticed us." Sam's eyes widened. "Yes, I see it. He is reacting again." Leo laughed quietly. "This is even better than before. I can't wait to see what he does next." The guard did not move his lips, and his face stayed serious. However, his eyes moved slightly as if he was trying to understand what had happened. For a moment, it looked like the guard was confused. The 3 friends felt proud and excited. They had done something no one else had dared to do. They had surprised a royal guard. Mia stepped back carefully. "We need to stay calm and watch him," she whispered. "If he moves more, we run." Sam nodded and took a small step backward. "I can hardly believe this is happening. He is reacting, and it feels amazing." Leo whispered excitedly. "I think we are making history. We are the first ones to see a royal guard react. Imagine telling everyone about this." The guard's eyes focused on them. For a few moments, it felt like he was studying the teens, trying to understand why they had touched him. Mia's heart beat fast. Sam's knees felt weak, but Leo's excitement made him forget everything else. Then, slowly, the guard shifted his weight slightly. It was not fast, but it was clear that he was aware of the teens. He moved 1 step forward, keeping his face serious. Mia, Sam, and Leo froze. The moment felt intense, and their small adventure suddenly seemed larger than life. Mia whispered, "We need to move slowly backward now. Don't startle him." Sam nodded and began to step back, keeping his eyes on the guard. Leo stayed still, trying not to laugh too loudly. The guard did not move quickly, but his presence made the teens feel small and careful. After a few moments, the guard stopped moving. He did not speak, but his eyes twitched once more, showing that he had definitely noticed something unusual. The 3 friends smiled quietly at each other. They had succeeded again. Mia whispered, "We are brave. We actually surprised him." "I cannot believe it," Leo grinned. "I told you it would work. Even the strictest people can react when they are surprised." Sam laughed quietly. "This is incredible. I never thought I would see a royal guard react. I feel proud, but also a little nervous. What if someone saw us?" Mia shook her head. "No one saw us. We were careful, and we did it politely. We have to remember to be safe, but we also need to enjoy this moment. It will be a story we tell for years." The teens stayed a little longer, observing the guard. They watched how he remained serious, but his eyes occasionally twitched as if he was remembering their touch. It was a small reaction, but it made the teens feel victorious. They had dared, they had acted, and they had succeeded. After a few minutes, Mia motioned to the others. Let's move back slowly and leave the guard alone. We have had our fun for now. Sam nodded and stepped carefully. I agree. We do not want to push our luck too far. This is enough excitement for one day. Leo laughed quietly. I think this is the best adventure we have ever had. Just imagine what people will say when we tell them about this. The friends walked back through the crowded streets, keeping their excitement quiet so no one noticed. Their hearts were still racing, and their minds were full of the thrill from their adventure. They had done something daring, something playful, and something no one else had tried. Mia looked at Sam and Leo and whispered, "This is the kind of adventure we will remember forever." We discovered something special today. Even the most serious people can react to a little kindness and playfulness, Leo smiled.
And we did it carefully.
We were brave, polite, and quick. That is what makes this adventure perfect, Sam nodded. I think we learned something too. Small actions can make a big difference. Even someone who seems serious can show a reaction if you approach them carefully. The friends continued walking through the busy streets. They laughed quietly, replaying the events in their minds. Every detail, from the first poke to the guard's slight twitch, felt exciting. They knew this day would be remembered as the day they had dared to challenge a royal guard, and actually succeeded. Mia looked at the palace from a distance and smiled. I think we should come back another day. Maybe we can watch the guards from farther away and see what else they do. But we should always be careful and respectful. Leo nodded eagerly. Yes, I want to see if we can notice more small reactions. It will be fun to observe without disturbing them. Sam smiled. I like that idea. We get to have an adventure, and we also learn something about people. Even someone who looks serious all the time can have small moments of surprise. The three friends spent the rest of the morning exploring the streets near the palace, talking quietly and laughing about their adventure. They knew that small actions, careful plans, and bravery could lead to exciting moments. By the time they left the area, their minds were full of stories. They had dared to poke a royal guard, they had seen a reaction, and they had learned that even the strictest people could have moments of surprise. The excitement of their small adventure stayed with them as they walked toward home, ready to share their story with anyone who would listen. Mia, Sam, and Leo realized that day that courage and careful playfulness could create unforgettable experiences. They had learned to be brave, observant, and respectful while having fun. Their adventure had just begun, and they knew that many more exciting moments awaited them in the future. After their second encounter with the royal guards, Mia, Sam, and Leo could not stop thinking about what had happened. The morning had been full of excitement and nerves. The palace gates were still in their minds, with the tall guards standing perfectly still in their bright red coats. The slight twitches of the guards' eyes had amazed them. They had expected nothing, and yet they had seen reactions that were almost impossible. The three friends decided to return to the palace area in the afternoon. The sun was higher in the sky, shining brightly on the streets. Tourists walked slowly, taking pictures, and street performers entertained the crowds with music and juggling. The palace walls glowed in the sunlight, and the black hats of the guards reflected it, making them look like statues. But Mia, Sam, and Leo knew better. They knew that behind those serious faces there was the possibility of surprise. Mia whispered to her friends, "We need to be careful this time. The first 2 times were small. This time I want to see a reaction that is bigger, but we must stay safe." Sam nodded, looking both excited and nervous. "I am ready, but I do not want anyone to get into trouble. Guards are supposed to be strict, and we need to be polite." Leo smiled. "We can do it. We just have to approach slowly, like before. No one can notice us if we are careful." The three friends observed the guards carefully. They noticed how the guards stood perfectly upright, their hands resting firmly on their sides and their eyes staring straight ahead. Nothing seemed to move, but the friends had learned that even the smallest poke could create a reaction. Mia crouched slightly to get a better look. "That guard over there looks perfect," she whispered. "He is at the edge of the crowd, and we can move slowly without anyone seeing us." Sam gulped. "I hope this works. I'm excited but also a little scared." Mia smiled. "It will work. We just need to be gentle and polite. Quick pokes, nothing more. We do not want to disturb him too much." Leo nodded eagerly. "I can hardly wait. Imagine seeing a royal guard react in front of all these people." The teens moved slowly, counting their steps and adjusting their positions. Every movement was careful and precise. They were close to the guard now, but still far enough to retreat if anything went wrong. The crowd around them was busy taking photos and talking, so no one noticed the three friends sneaking closer. Mia whispered, "Remember, a small poke on the shoulder. Quick and light, that is all. We want to see a reaction, not cause trouble." Sam nodded and stepped closer. "I am ready. Let's do this carefully." Leo grinned, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "I am going to poke gently too. This is going to be amazing." Mia reached out and poked the guard's shoulder gently. Sam followed with a light poke and Leo added a quick tickle on the guard's side. The guard remained still for a moment, his face serious, but something unusual began to happen. His eyes twitched again, this time more noticeably. The three friends froze, watching closely. Mia whispered, "He noticed." "I can see it in his eyes." Sam's eyes widened. "Yes, he is reacting. Look at his face carefully. I think he is surprised." Leo laughed quietly, trying not to attract attention. "I told you. Even the strictest people can react if you surprise them. Look at him. He is serious, but his eyes are moving." The guard shifted slightly, bending one knee just a little. It was almost unnoticeable, but it meant he was aware of them. His face stayed calm, but his presence felt stronger. Almost like he was ready to act if needed. Mia's heart pounded. She could feel the tension in the air. Sam's knees shook slightly and Leo's excitement grew. The guard's eyes focused on the teens, studying them carefully. It was as if he was trying to understand why they had touched him. Mia whispered, "We need to stay calm and watch him. If he moves more, we should be ready to step back." Sam nodded, his hands trembling slightly. "I can hardly believe this. He is reacting and it feels so amazing." Leo grinned. "We are making history. We are the first ones to see a royal guard react. Can you imagine what people will say when we tell them?" The guard moved one step forward. His face stayed serious, but the slight motion showed that he had felt the pokes. Mia, Sam, and Leo froze. It was a tense moment. They did not know if the guard would step back, call someone, or remain calm. The air felt heavy, but the friends did not move. Mia whispered, "We need to move slowly backward. Do not make sudden movements. We want to observe without startling him." Sam nodded and stepped back slowly, his eyes fixed on the guard. Leo stayed still, trying not to laugh too loudly. The guard remained in place, but his presence was powerful. The teens realized that their small action had made an impression on him. After a few moments, the guard straightened again. He did not speak, but his eyes twitched one more time. It was a small reaction, but it made the teens feel proud. They had succeeded in surprising the guard once more. Mia whispered, "We did it. We actually surprised him again." "I cannot believe it," Leo smiled. "Even the most serious people can have reactions. We just have to be careful and playful." Sam laughed quietly. "I never thought I would see a royal guard react. It feels amazing. I am proud, but also a little nervous. What if someone saw us?" Mia shook her head. "No one saw us. We were careful and polite. That is why we succeeded. This moment will be one we remember forever." The teens observed the guard for a few more minutes. They watched how he remained serious, but his eyes occasionally twitched as if remembering their small actions. It was enough to make them feel victorious. They had dared, they had acted, and they had succeeded in creating a small reaction from someone who seemed impossible to surprise. Mia motioned to her friends. "Let's move back slowly. We should leave him alone now. We have had enough fun for today." Sam nodded and began to step back carefully. "I agree. This is enough excitement for one day. We do not want to push our luck." Leo laughed quietly. "This is the best adventure we have had so far. Just imagine what people will say when we tell them." The friends walked through the streets, still excited but careful to keep their movements quiet. Their hearts were still racing and their minds were full of the thrill from their adventure. They had done something daring, playful, and unusual, and they had succeeded without causing any trouble. Mia whispered to Sam and Leo, "This is the kind of adventure we will remember forever. Even the most serious people can react to small surprises if you are careful and polite." Leo nodded eagerly. "And we did it correctly. We were brave, respectful, and gentle. That makes the adventure perfect." Sam smiled. "We also learned something. Small actions can create big reactions. Even someone who seems serious and strict can show emotions if you approach them carefully." The teens continued walking, laughing quietly, replaying the events in their minds. Every detail, from the first poke to the guard's twitch, felt exciting. They had dared to do something no one else had tried. They had created a story that would make them smile for years. Mia looked at the palace from a distance. We should come back another day. We can watch the guards from farther away and see what else happens. But we must always be careful and respectful. Leo nodded. Yes, I want to see more small reactions. It will be fun to observe without disturbing them. Sam smiled. I like that. We get to have an adventure and also learn about people. Even someone who seems serious all the time can have moments of surprise and reaction. The friends spent the afternoon exploring the streets near the palace, talking quietly and laughing about their adventure. They had dared to poke a royal guard, seen a reaction, and learned that even the strictest people could show small signs of surprise. The excitement of their small adventure stayed with them as they walked toward home, ready to share their story with anyone who would listen. Mia, Sam, and Leo realized that day that courage, careful planning, and small playful actions could create unforgettable experiences. They had learned to be brave, observant, and respectful while having fun. Their adventure was far from over, and they knew that many more exciting moments awaited them in the future. The three friends walked together, their laughter blending with the sounds of the busy streets. They had created a small story that would stay with them forever. It was not just about surprising a royal guard. It was about daring to try something bold, learning from the experience and enjoying every moment of it. They were ready for the next part of their adventure, knowing that the city held countless possibilities for fun, excitement, and memories that would last a lifetime. After their encounters with the royal guards, Mia, Sam, and Leo were still buzzing with excitement. They had dared to poke the guards, watch their reactions, and had done so without getting into trouble. The memory of the guards' serious faces with tiny twitches in their eyes was unforgettable. It made them laugh quietly every time they remembered it. The city streets were busy that afternoon. Families strolled slowly, tourists snapped photos, and street performers entertained the crowds with juggling, music, and tricks. The palace gates looked magnificent under the sunlight. The guards stood perfectly still as usual, their red coats shining and their black hats gleaming. Despite the crowd around them, the guards' focus was unwavering. Mia whispered to her friends, "We have done small pokes and observed them. Now I think it is time for a little adventure. I want to see if we can get a bigger reaction, but we need to be careful." Sam swallowed nervously. Bigger reaction? I am not sure. The last time was enough excitement. I don't want to make anyone upset. Leo grinned, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Come on, Sam, we have been careful every time. This time it can be a little more daring and it will be fun. We just need to be smart, Mia nodded. Exactly. We will be smart. We will plan it and do it slowly. No rushing, no pushing. Just a small action and a quick retreat. The three friends carefully observed the guards. Each guard stood perfectly upright, their hands resting at their sides. Their serious faces showed no sign of emotion, but Mia, Sam, and Leo had already learned that even the strictest people could have tiny reactions when surprised. Mia pointed to one guard who was near the edge of the crowd. That one is perfect. We can approach slowly and carefully. No one will notice us. Sam took a deep breath. Okay, but we need to be very careful. I do not want to get into trouble. Leo laughed quietly. Relax, Sam. We are careful, polite, and quick. That is all we need. Watch and learn. The teens began their approach. Every step was deliberate. They counted softly and moved slowly, keeping their eyes on the guard. The crowd around them was busy with conversations, cameras, and laughter. No one noticed the three friends sneaking closer. Mia whispered, "Remember, a small poke or tap on the shoulder. Quick and light. That is all. We want a reaction, not trouble." Sam nodded, his hands slightly trembling. "I am ready. Let's do this carefully." Leo leaned in slightly, his mischievous smile growing. "This will be amazing. I can't wait to see his reaction." Mia reached out and poked the guard's shoulder lightly. Sam followed with a small poke, and Leo added a quick tickle to the side of the guard's arm. At first, nothing happened. The guard remained serious, his face unchanged and his eyes looking straight ahead. Mia whispered, "Do you see that?" He noticed something. "Look at his eyes." Sam's eyes widened. "Yes, he is reacting. I can see it clearly now. His face is serious, but his eyes are moving. He is surprised." Leo chuckled quietly. "Even the most serious people can react. I told you this would work. Look at him. He is aware of us now." The guard shifted slightly. His weight moved from one leg to the other very subtly. It was not fast, but it showed that he had felt something unusual. Mia's heart raced. Sam felt his knees tremble slightly, and Leo's excitement grew even stronger. The guard's eyes focused on the teens. It was as if he was studying them carefully, trying to understand why they had touched him. Mia whispered, "We need to stay calm. Watch him closely. If he moves more, we should be ready to retreat." Sam nodded, his hands trembling. "I can hardly believe this. He is reacting, and it feels so amazing." Leo grinned. "We are making history. We are the first ones to see a royal guard react. Can you imagine what people will say when we tell them?" Suddenly, the guard moved one step forward. His face remained serious, but the slight movement showed that he had noticed the pokes and tickles. The three friends froze. The moment was tense. They did not know if the guard would call someone, step back, or stay calm. The air felt heavy with anticipation. Mia whispered urgently, "We need to retreat slowly. Step back carefully. Do not startle him." Sam nodded and began to step back slowly, his eyes fixed on the guard. Leo stayed still, trying not to laugh too loudly. The guard remained in place, but his presence was powerful. The teens realized that their small action had made a big impression. After a few moments, the guard straightened. He did not speak, but his eyes twitched again slightly, showing that he had felt something unexpected. It was a small reaction, but enough to make the teens feel victorious. They had dared, acted, and succeeded in creating a reaction from someone who seemed impossible to surprise. Mia whispered, "We did it. We surprised him again. I cannot believe it." "This is amazing," Leo smiled widely. "Even the most serious people can have reactions. We just have to be careful, playful, and polite." Sam laughed quietly. "I never thought I would see a royal guard react. It feels incredible. I am proud but also nervous. What if someone noticed?" Mia shook her head. "No one noticed us. We were careful. That is why we succeeded. This moment will stay with us forever." The teens stayed a little longer observing the guard. They watched how he remained serious, but his eyes occasionally twitched as if he remembered their small actions. The simple reactions were enough to make them feel victorious. They had dared, acted, and succeeded in creating a story they would never forget. Then Mia motioned to her friends. "Let's move back slowly and leave the guard alone. We have had our fun for today." Sam nodded and began to step back carefully. "I agree. Enough excitement for one day. We do not want to push our luck." Leo laughed quietly. "This is the best adventure we have had. Just imagine what people will say when we tell them." The three friends walked through the busy streets, still buzzing with excitement. Their hearts were still racing and their minds were full of the thrill of their adventure. They had done something daring, playful, and unusual, and they had succeeded without causing any trouble. Mia whispered to Sam and Leo, "This is the kind of adventure we will remember forever. Even the most serious people can react to small surprises if you are careful and polite." Leo nodded eagerly. "And we did it correctly. We were brave, respectful, and gentle." "That makes the adventure perfect," Sam smiled. "We also learned something important. Small actions can create big reactions. Even someone who seems strict and serious can show tiny emotions if you approach them carefully." The teens continued walking, laughing quietly, replaying the events in their minds. Every detail, from the first poke to the guard's twitch, felt exciting. They had dared to do something no one else had tried. They had created a story that would make them smile for years. Suddenly, Leo whispered, "Do you remember how the guard's eyes twitched last time? I think this time it looked like he almost wanted to react more. Maybe he felt ticklish like a little kid." Mia laughed quietly. "I think you are right. If he had been allowed to move, he might have laughed or even run a little. But he is trained to stay serious, and that is what makes it so funny. He almost called for his mommy, I think." Sam chuckled nervously. "I cannot believe we actually made a royal guard feel that way. It is incredible. We were brave and it worked." The friends spent a few more minutes exploring the streets near the palace, talking quietly and laughing about their adventure. They had dared to poke a royal guard, seen a reaction, and learned that even the strictest people could show small signs of surprise. The excitement of their adventure stayed with them as they walked toward home. Mia, Sam, and Leo realized that courage, careful planning, and small playful actions could create unforgettable experiences. They had learned to be brave, observant, and respectful while having fun. Their adventure was far from over, and they knew that many more exciting moments awaited them in the future. The three friends walked together, their laughter blending with the sounds of the busy streets. They had created a story that would stay with them forever. It was not just about surprising a royal guard. It was about daring to try something bold, learning from the experience and enjoying every moment of it. They were ready for the next part of their adventure, knowing that the city held countless possibilities for fun, excitement, and memories that would last a lifetime. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the city streets near the palace. Mia, Sam, and Leo walked together, their faces still glowing with excitement. They had spent the day daring, observing and playing, and they could hardly believe everything that had happened. The memories of the royal guard's serious faces, combined with the tiny reactions they had witnessed, made them laugh quietly and shake their heads in disbelief. Mia looked at her friends and said, "I think today has been one of the best days of our lives. We actually surprised royal guards and stayed safe. That feels amazing." Leo nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, we were brave, careful, and polite. We made history in a way, and no one else has done what we did. It is unforgettable." Sam smiled a little shyly. "I never imagined I would have this kind of adventure. I was nervous at first, but it turned out to be fun and exciting. I feel proud, and I also feel like we learned something important." Mia raised an eyebrow. "Learned something? What do you mean?" Sam shrugged. "We learned that even the strictest and most serious people can react to kindness, playfulness, and small surprises. It makes me think about how everyone has feelings even if they hide them." Leo grinned. "I like that. It is like we discovered a secret about people. Even someone who looks like a statue can feel something, even if it is small. It is like magic." Mia laughed quietly. "You are right. And it is fun magic, not scary magic. Today we used small actions, a little courage, and a lot of careful planning to create an adventure, and we stayed safe. That is important too." The three friends walked along the cobblestone streets, their steps light and quick. The city was quieter now, as families and tourists had started to leave. The palace gates still stood tall, and the guards remained serious and perfect in their posture. Mia glanced at them one last time. "I think we should leave them alone for today. We learned enough, and we also need to remember to respect their job." Leo nodded. "Yes, we had our fun and we observed their reactions. That is enough excitement for one day." Sam smiled. "I am glad we did it carefully. If we were careless, it could have been trouble. But we were careful, polite, and respectful. That made all the difference." Mia added, "I think the biggest lesson we learned is that small actions can create big reactions. Even if someone seems serious, small kindnesses or surprises can make them feel something. That is a great lesson for life." Leo laughed quietly. "I think the guard almost wanted to call for his mommy when we tickled him. That made it even more funny. It shows that everyone, no matter how serious, has a human side." Sam chuckled nervously. "I cannot believe we actually did that. It feels incredible, and we stayed safe, polite, and respectful. That is something to be proud of." Mia smiled. "Exactly. That is why today is so special. We had fun, we observed carefully, and we learned something about courage and respect. This is a story we will remember forever." The three friends continued walking through the streets, replaying the events in their minds. Every detail, from the first poke to the guard's subtle reactions, felt exciting. They laughed quietly and shared small jokes, remembering how the serious guards had twitched their eyes, almost as if they were confused or surprised. It was a moment that made them feel brave, clever, and full of adventure. Leo paused and said, "I think the best part is that we did something daring without causing trouble. We were playful but careful. That is why it was perfect. We learned how to be brave and respectful at the same time." Mia nodded. "Yes, that is important. Adventures are fun, but they are better when we are careful and kind. We did not hurt anyone, and we learned something about courage and observation. That is what makes today unforgettable." Sam looked thoughtful. "I also think we learned how to work together. If Mia had not planned it, Leo had not been brave, and I had not been cautious, we might have done something reckless. But together we made it work perfectly. That is teamwork." Leo grinned. "Teamwork is important, yes. And courage too. And observation. We watched the guards carefully and we understood them before acting. That is why it worked. It was smart, not just fun." Mia smiled. "Exactly. We combined courage, intelligence, and careful planning. That is why today was successful. And it also taught us a lesson for life. Small actions, when done carefully, can have a big impact." The three friends stopped for a moment near a small fountain in the street. The water sparkled in the sunlight, reflecting the colors of the city. They sat on the edge, letting their excitement settle while their minds replayed the adventure. Mia said quietly, "Do you remember the guard's eyes twitched?" It was so small, but it meant everything. Even small reactions can be important. That is a good lesson for us, Sam nodded. Yes, and even when someone seems serious and strict, they can feel emotions. That makes me think about everyone we meet. Maybe we should be kinder and more playful sometimes, even in small ways. Leo laughed softly. And we can still be playful as long as we are careful and respectful. That is what we did today. We created fun, we learned something, and we stayed safe. Perfect combination. Mia smiled at her friends. I think the most important lesson is that courage, care, respect, and a little playfulness can create amazing experiences. Today was proof of that, Sam added, and teamwork too. We supported each other, made decisions together, and watched out for each other. That made it even better. Leo nodded enthusiastically. Yes, today was amazing. We will always remember it. We made the guards react, we stayed safe, and we had so much fun. That is an adventure we can tell everyone about without worry. The sun was setting lower, casting long shadows across the streets. The city was quieter, but the energy of the day stayed with Mia, Sam, and Leo. They walked together toward home, still talking, laughing, and replaying every moment. Every step felt light because their adventure had been successful, safe, and unforgettable. Mia said, "I'm glad we were careful. Fun is better when no one gets hurt and everyone stays safe. That is why this adventure worked so well." Sam nodded. "I feel proud. We dared to do something different, something playful, and we respected everyone while doing it. That is a lesson for life." Leo laughed softly. And the guard almost called for his mommy. That will be my favorite memory. It shows that even the strictest people have a human side. It makes everything more exciting. Mia smiled. Yes, it does. And it reminds us that small actions, courage, respect, and careful planning can make a difference. That is something we should always remember. The three friends continued walking as the golden sunlight faded into the evening sky. Their laughter and excitement blended with the soft sounds of the city at dusk. They knew that today had been extraordinary. They had dared, observed, learned, and enjoyed every moment of it. The adventure had created memories that would stay with them forever. Finally, they reached a quiet street near their homes. Mia looked at her friends and said, "We did it. Today was perfect. We had fun, we learned important lessons, and we stayed safe. I will never forget it," Sam smiled. Me neither. I am glad we were careful, playful, and brave.
We made a story that is unforgettable.
And we learned so much about courage, respect, and teamwork. Leo grinned. Yes, this adventure is one for the books. We will always remember how we dared to tickle a royal guard, saw a reaction, and stayed safe. That is a perfect ending for an amazing day. Mia, Sam, and Leo hugged each other lightly, feeling the joy of their friendship and the excitement of their shared adventure. They knew that even though today was over, the lessons they had learned and the memories they had created would last forever. They had discovered courage, respect, playfulness, and the power of small actions. As they parted ways and headed to their homes, they smiled, knowing that the city held endless possibilities for more adventures. The day had been unforgettable. The lesson had been learned, and their friendship had grown even stronger. They had dared to be playful, careful, and brave, and in doing so they had created memories that would stay with them for a lifetime.